When it comes to manifesting, what are you supposed to do? You hear all kinds of thoughts about you need to do these routines and these practices. And then you hear other people say, no, you got to just let it go and make it happen. In this video today, I'm going to talk about the different tools on both sides of that and to how to find that sweet spot right in the middle when combining manifesting and surrendering to accomplish all your goals and dreams. So if that interests you, stay tuned. I'm going to share a couple stories along the way and a little bit of fun stuff too. So yeah, that's what we're doing. And so welcome to my YouTube channel. My name's Kerry, and we talk about all things mindset, motivation, and manifesting, and how to apply those in your life to level up to become the best version of you right across the board. And a little different background this time. Yeah, I'm doing some traveling. So welcome to what I'll maybe, who knows, maybe it'll be a series that we start, but they'll call it the Hotel Room Chronicles or whatever we want to go from there, but whatever. Right. So, but that's for those of you that watch a lot of my videos. I usually love to get outside, but a little different background, and that's why. So actually, and I'll share a little bit about that in future videos, but taking on, like, you know what I mean? When I talk about challenging yourself and doing some different things, yeah, that's exactly what I got going on in my world. Walking the walk here as we move forward. So let's get into it. Where's that balance between efforting and doing things to achieve what you want? And then you hear the other side about, no, you need to surrender and accept it and just let it go. So there's a difference when it comes to law of attraction, and they talk about when you want something and there's a goal, and the more you focus on it, the better it is. But there's a little catch to that you need to be in an inspired and aligned place when you're thinking of those things. Because if you're thinking of what you want, your goals and dreams, desires, whether that's health and fitness, finances, relationships, and it's from a lack or scarcity or need standpoint, the energy you're putting out is going to attract more of that. I'll give you some examples in a second. But on the other side, when you surrender and accept and let it happen and let it flow to you and attract it, it's interesting how it can flow into your life if that surrender and that acceptance comes from a place of alignment. Now, I know that might be a bit confusing. So let's get into some examples here. So, I mean, bluntly, let's give it to you bluntly right off the bat. When you're squeezing on to whatever you want, and a lot of times when we really want something and really desire it and need it, and we're scared we're not going to get it, it comes from that place of lack and scarcity. And what that brings is more of that into our lives. We're focused more on what we don't want. We think so, and think about this, something that you want, like something that you desire. You think that you're choosing and focusing on what you want, but you're actually focusing on what happens if I don't get that? What happens if that doesn't happen? What happens if it doesn't work out? What happens if I'm not consistent with my gym workouts? What happens if that person rejects me when I go ask them out? What happens if the new career, what happens if my job all of a sudden lets me go, I really need this job? And we're focused on what we don't want instead of what we do want in all of those things, right? And when we cling to it, try to pry it out of our hands, it's that scarcity comes from that scarcity place. So on the other side of it, and that's from the negative side of taking action and efforting. On the other side of it, okay, let's talk about when we surrender and accept. Some people take this to an extreme and they go, oh, you know what? Well, I'm going to just sit back and relax and let the universe do its thing and come and save my ass. And that's not happening. Newsflash, no one's coming to save your ass. All right. So that's where what needs to happen is, like, so many people, they sit around and they sit at home eating chips on their couch and think that the universe is going to magically give them their dream body, or they're going to, step into all this abundance and love and everything. And I mean, it does happen. Hey, you know what? There's things out there, but usually it requires a little bit of effort and action. It's the mirror principle, right? Like, you're going to get what you give. Like when you're going to see more of, like, what you put out in the world will come back to you twofold. So if you're looking for abundance and success and love and health, you need to think from that place and put it out in the world, right? So this, I've got a story to kind of bring this into a little perspective for you, because finding that sweet spot completely depends. I'll tell you where the gauge is that tells you where you've got the right sweet spot. And it's how you feel, your emotions, how you're feeling when you think. So we talk about inspired action. If that action comes from a place of lack or scarcity, well, that's not necessarily inspired action. That's coming from a point of forcing and trying to make something happen that's from a place of like that scarcity and lack place. So if you get an idea, oh, I should try this, or maybe I should do this, or as the universe works its magic, you all of a sudden think of someone, or someone phones you, or this happens, or you're driving along somewhere one day and the road's closed, so you got to go a different way, and you think, oh well, this could work out. I wonder what this has in store for me. All right, and you're open to those things. It's amazing how things work out. So I'm going to share this with a story today, and in about seeing it, and it's about that efforting, that sweet spot of efforting and reaction. So I was seeing clients today, and as I was moving around and on the move, I had the key fob for my office, and you need a key fob to get in and out of the office and doors and stuff like that with security. So I was on my way, and before I headed out, just good advice from our parents: make sure you use the washroom before you head out. So obviously made a pit stop before I was on my way out, and then I'm going out, and I had some appointments and sessions scheduled with clients, and so stopping in, at the first one, and it went awesome. And then as I'm moving through, and then I go to the next one, and then all of a sudden I realize that I don't have my key fob. And I'm like, oh no, right? Because now I can't get back into my office. So I'm like, oh no. And so the first reactions I had come from that place of scarcity and fear, and oh no, now I've lost it. What am I going to do? Now I got to pay to get locks rekeyed and all this stuff. And that's where this came from. And I'm thinking I should drive right back to the office right now and try to look outside and scour around. And then I'm like, you know what? The universe has my back on this. I've got it. So, but what should I do? And it just kind of stay. And here's exactly what I did. You sit in stillness for a moment, right? It's like, okay, guide me. Where do I need to go? What do I need to do with this? And it's like, okay, well, maybe what you should do, and this is where again that sweet spot from not doing anything for inspired action. And so with the inspired action, said, you know what? Why don't you go and take a look where you just came from, like your previous appointment. So here I go. So I go back, and my client was happy to see me. He's like, hey, what are you doing back? I'm like, well, surprise, surprise. Here I am. Explained, well, I dropped my key fob. And so looking around, didn't find it. So I'm like, well, that's not good. So I said, well, I could rush back and try to figure it out again, or I could just trust that the universe has it sorted out. And in sitting in that stillness, I'm like, you know what? I wonder if it's in the washroom right by the door. Cause I remember like I kind of was grabbing the door and I had other things in my hands, and it, I'm like, maybe that's what it was. So I just trusted it, right? That if it's, if it's there, it's there. If it's not, it's not. And that's what it is. So I continued on. I had two other appointments this afternoon, and in going through those. And so then, and I visualized seeing that key fob, how I felt inside of that was calmness, still, that peacefulness. And I'm like, okay, well, that's how it's going to go, right? So that's where I went with it. So driving back, and I'm going to close it up here. So I get back to the office, go in, and had a friend open up the door to the washroom, because obviously you need the key fob to get in there. And it's like, man, I hope this thing is in here, because or else I got to go through all these hoops and steps to get it canceled and get a new one. So, but sure enough, right, I go in, and it is exactly on the floor. It kind of fell down behind the door under the register, the heating register thing, exactly where I envisioned it. And that's where inspired action, that balance between surrender and acceptance, inspired action and efforting comes in. Because if I didn't take the effort to go and look for that, or think about where it would have been, and come from a place of abundance and calmness, I could have panicked, looked all over, stressed out, who knows? Then you end up, and when you stack that scarcity and fear and lack on each other, you get, you end up with a speeding ticket, you get in an accident, you do this and that, like all of the, in that, and like things stack up because you get more of what vibe of what you're putting out. So that's a little story in regards to just kind of trusting, right? And that balance and where it comes from. And again, you're in the right spot because it feels good to you. It's that calmness. that you'll feel. So where is it in your life? Right? I'd love for you to share in the comments below, but where is it in your life that you could use a little more balance? So one way or the other, right? And again, that feeling of anxiousness or worry, or on the other side of it, if you're too into the surrender end of things, it turns into laziness and almost that apathy, or the fact that you've given up, right? There's a difference between surrendering and giving up. And that's important. I mean, I've made videos about that. Happy to go through that again. If you're interested in more, just let me know in the comments. But so let's take dating, for example, right? People that are dating, right? And it's like, oh, I think that person's really cute, good looking. I would love to go out with them, but they're never going to go out with me. So I'm just going to go and sit at home and wait. And one day the universe is going to have them show up at my door. How's that working out for you? Yeah. So where it comes from, inspired action, is that surrender of saying, you know what, I need that inspired action. So you see that one and it's like, you know what, Mel Robbins says the 5-second rule. You know what, I'm thinking this, I'm going to do it in 5 seconds. Walking over and saying, hey, you know what, whatever your opener is, I'd love to hear it. You can share some of your great openers, not that it's a pickup line thing, but I mean, some of those in the thing. But walking up to that person and saying, you know what, I just feel like I needed to say hello to you. And I would love it if we would go and grab a coffee one day, or go and do whatever, like whatever that is for you, right? And trusting and surrendering that if that person says, yes, I love that, great idea, I've noticed you too, I'm glad you came over, right? It's going to work out great. And if they say, no, never talk to me again, you're scary, hey, you know what? That's the universe has your back, because there's probably reasons there why it's helping you out with not progressing that forward and saving you a lot of pain and drama in the future. So, because I think about some of the relationships that, man, in my life where that have ended in the most drama and craziness, man, I knew it was that forcing from the start, that they came from a point of, oh, I really want to be with this person, I'll do whatever it takes to be with this person, right? And then it just, like, and knowing that that's not how it works out. Like, trust me. So anyways, coming back to it. So that's from a dating and relationship standpoint, and even fitness, right? Fitness, how we focus on, you can say, I want to be in the best shape of my life, but I'm just going to wait till it happens. And you sit at home, you don't do anything. Well, you need efforting in that. You need that balance. But if you go too far the other way, you'll run yourself right into the ground, right? I'm going to work out for 5 hours a day. I'm not going to eat this. I'm going to weigh my food. I'm going to do this and this. Well, then other areas of your life are going to suffer, and you'll end up in that place of where it's not a healthy mix, right? So it's that balance of inspired action. I feel good when I work out this many times a week for this many hours. So that's what I'm going to do. So hopefully that helps out a little bit with that balance between efforting and importance and taking that inspired action towards what you want. And on the other side of it, that's surrender and acceptance. And ultimately, when you can live from a place of surrender, knowing that in your heart, that's how it feels good to you, and that's you're comfortable moving forward with it. And if you don't have that stillness or calmness or certainty, or that feeling of, well, you know what, I'm going to do this, and however it works out, I'm good with it, because that's exactly how it's supposed to work out. When you have that, it's so freeing and carefree to move and live from that place, and watch how the universe works its magic when you move from that energy and that vibe. So yeah, that's my message today. So think about it in your world, right? Where can you apply this to? Where have you been too far to one side or the other side? And how can you achieve a little more balance in that? If you'd like some support with that, by all means, reach out to me. I have one-on-one sessions. There's groups that I have. The Man to Men group is again super successful, where guys get together and talk about real things in groups. There's information on my website, kerrykish.com, and also on all my socials, which is at Kerry Kish Coaching. There's and then and also, by looking back with some of the videos here, I'll link some of them in the comments below. But again, if you found value with this, thank you so much. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. I put a new video out every week. They're always about mindset, manifesting, and motivation. And if that's your jam, you can watch one of these videos that are popping up on the screen right now, because it is about those topics. And I love to serve, support, and hear from you in the community. I love your comments, like different things that that resonate with you in the videos, things you like, things you don't like. Bring them. bring them. I love to hear from you. So again, I am grateful for you. Thank you so much. I cherish every single moment that we share together on this journey as I become, strive to become the best version of myself and invite you to join me on that journey with you. So until the next video, as always, sending peace, love, and positive vibes your way.